Qualifying match for the Team Liquid Star League 8, sponsored by Shopify and so many other wonderful companies helping make this event happen. But right now, we've got a qualifying match, only a best of 3 European server. In the bottom left, our blue Zerg. It is from ENCE eSports Serral, taking on Red Terror in the top right. He's a favorite amongst ours. He is ByuN from the Shopify Rebellion. He just took down... I mean, in general, these two have been on a streak to get to this qualifying match. Serral came through Spirit, formerly known as Soul, and then Max Pax. And then ByuN has been on even a crazier streak. He took down Harstum, then Neeb, then Cure, and now here he is against Serral for a chance to qualify. If they lose here, they drop down to a qualifying match in the lower bracket. So there is a second chance, basically. But obviously it would be nice not to have to stay up another 3 or 4 hours to play that, and just to qualify and get it done with right here and now. I actually just casted Serral versus ByuN from when they played in the Stay-at-Home Story Cup bracket. I just casted that for YouTube the other day, and if you are watching this series on YouTube, hello, how you doing? Do you consider hitting the like button? Do you consider subscribing? If you enjoy the content, it really does help so much. It helps push these videos to other people. Helps the channel grow, helps me grow, helps me to put on more StarCraft 2 content and do even better games and get better players, all that kind of stuff. So please do take a moment to like and subscribe, ring the bell, yada yada. But yes, Serral and ByuN really do, they played a series at Stay-at-Home Story Cup. Now this is on the European server, so immediately you've got to accept that ByuN is going to be a little bit hindered by the ping. And when they played at Stay-at-Home Story Cup, that series was really cool. Some long games, back and forth. I really felt ByuN had the chance to be up 2-0 in that series, actually. I feel like he could have took a 1-0 lead, but he didn't, and then he did win game 2. So it was 1-1, but I really felt like it could have been 2-0 looking at the games. Be interesting to see how he plays here. I'll see if we spot any differences. He played a very aggressive style, just very active on the map, constantly attacking, constantly being that aggressor. Pretty much all the way throughout, so... see what happens. There's a couple queens coming up. As we have ourselves some early build orders here on Hardwire, just going to be seeing ourselves with a double gas. So we are at the very least going to see some aggression from ByuN right away. Not the fastest of third CCs. We are going to see a Hellion opening. He used a lot of 3 racks openings, a lot of Marine-focused openings when he played against Serral the other day. Today, just going to play with these Hellions to start us off at least, and we'll see what he gets out of the starport. He adds on another Marine. Now, a lot of the time when you've already built a few Marines off a reactor first, then you go for an additional Marine rather than like a tech lab or anything. My immediate thought is, oh, you're going to start, getting like a tech lab. Sorry, not tech lab. God damn, my brain is somewhere else at the moment. You're going to start getting like an armory and going in towards like a Hellbat attack. And I actually really think that's becoming more and more likely as more Marines continue to build. You don't get a tech lab at all. You're not looking towards other things to spend your gas on. There's the medevac, next 100 gas ready right now for the armory. This is just going to be your baseline Hellbat attack to start us off. And, well, Serral is going to take 0 risks. The Baneling Nest is already on the way down, so he's going to be extremely well prepared here. I mean, just having Banelings against this right away is going to set you up perfectly. And I think he just says, look, I mean... I don't even know what he sees, or if he just wants to be super safe. Like, he sees no Reaper, knows it's kind of a heavier Marine count right away. Hasn't seen the Hellions, right? That's what I was thinking. Hasn't seen the Hellions, but I don't know if you necessarily need a Bane Nest if there's no Hellions, usually. But maybe just thinks that the potential of it being no Reaper just means the Hellbats are likely. Or maybe he just thinks, hey, if I just play safely, EU server, my advantage, right? My home server, I get the advantage here. I just need to play safe and I'm going to be fine. Just don't die to anything early and I should be okay. And man, that's already fantastic damage on the medevac. The longer you keep the medevac up, the more annoying the Hellbats are going to be, because the less healing they get, the more sustainable they are. So taking so much damage on the medevac already is really brutal, because now they're basically just saying that you're just not going to have a good time. No, these Banelings! God, finally going to kind of hit 2 Hellbats at once. He kills the medevac Serral, and this is already looking to be a pretty reasonably amazing, actually, shutdown, right? He's up 15 workers. He lost, what, 2 Banelings and 2 Zerglings? And he straight up scared ByuN away. I mean, the Queen's obviously killing the medevac and getting so much damage initially to allow that kill to happen is the major part of that. But yeah, the preparation with the Baneling Nest was just the perfect call. And I mean, ByuN is just going to be in trouble now. His third CC is not as quickly. He didn't really do any damage. He has nothing to show for having delayed his economy. You know, he has nothing to show for the delayed economy in this, which is definitely going to make this a little bit rough, as we do see a couple of barracks on the way through, and those queens are just pushing those Hellions back up into the middle of the map. As we got ourselves, I mean, we're going to try and get to Bio. We'll see how it goes. Serral did have a game earlier today against Spirit where he actually got extremely far ahead on this map. He, like, completely hard-countered a 2-racks opening. It was like, you know, he counterattacked and did loads of damage. It was, like, over. And Spirit kind of drew it out, as Spirit so often does. Spirit, formerly known as Soul, as I think I mentioned earlier, talking about the runs that these players had. You know, Soul can play a good late game. And he did kind of play to the late game, but Serral honestly looked magnificent there. And yeah, credit to Spirit, he played great to get there. Serral played magnificently and still won the game out. But my point is, maybe ByuN can do something here to draw the game out. I know he kind of plays like that. I've casted a few games of him, specifically against Dongregu lately, where he gets into a rough spot and he just says, right, I'm in a bad place right now. Sit back, take bases, and just let the Zerg attack into me and hope and pray that the Zerg attacking into me is just going to make too many overcommitments, is going to trade badly repeatedly, and is just going to have a rough time, you know? That is what I would typically imagine being the idea or the philosophy for ByuN in this game right now. Maybe not like right now. Right now, I think you've still got a bit of a 1-1 timing. Maybe you got some Hellions that can move into Hellbats, but like in the future, if he doesn't get anything done with like the next attack or so, and he is just going to be like 20 workers down, nothing to show for it, then I think yeah, you do kind of start thinking of playing in that sort of manner. Serral just immediately on the Baneling counterattack, mind you. Morphing these in, he's going to rally them straight out that natural, and that's actually just going to be, it's like pure Baneling. 16 Banes, going to have like 6 on the depots, 10 for the STVs. And they've got Bane speed as well. Now, there is a depot at the front, so a little bit of pre-warning here from ByuN. Lings are going to follow this up as well, as these Marines get turned around. Well, the first depot is not even raised. Wouldn't really matter, would make a very minimal difference as Lings come in as well. Now, the Hellions... Oh, I like this. He's actually going to open up the high ground and get into the main base. The SCVs he already ran, and he actually turns the Banes around into the Hellions to keep them on the ramp and to keep them back. Yeah, actually very well executed run by from Serral. I think this was one of the better ways to maximize damage done. And as he does lose these last few Zerglings, he's killed 19 SCVs. And all Serral has to do is make sure, again, that a counterattack's not going to kill him. And if there's no counterattack that kills him, he really is just already running away with this game. And maybe ByuN can drag it out to a much later state, but probably going to be unlikely. Hellions morph into the Hellbats, and just going to be seeing the rest of the Marines joining up. Just going to be seeing that Infestation Pit coming through. Serral says, okay, well, you know, I don't mind playing into the late game if I have to. Serral is a very methodical player in that regard, right? He will just say, look, I'm not going to throw this game away by attacking too soon. It reminds me a lot of of something Snoot said once where people asked him, hey, Snoot, how come you always want to play the longer games? And he says, well, you know, a lot of the time I don't want to play the longer game, but look, I didn't fly all the way to this tournament to lose because I couldn't be bothered to spend 5-10 more minutes in a game to, you know, to just finish off the game properly and just to try and end it quickly. So yeah, I'm going to play the games out properly, and that involves them going long, but I feel like I can control that, and that's fine. And that's what Serral reminds me of as well. Very similar kind of essence in terms of, like, he will just say, yeah, I'll play the games out properly. We can play later into the game if you want to. Like, that's not an issue, as these Banelings playing ring around the command center, and they will get a couple of SCVs for their efforts. And, well, Serral just still making Ling Bane. Getting Burrow, too. He's been quite good at using those burrowed Banelings in kind of fun moments as well. We'll keep our eyes out for some of those. Hopefully get some fun connections. Again, we'll have like a minor timing where he's going to have 2-2 against 1-1. Oh my god, those Banelings were literally touching the Marines as they got into those medevacs. That was a fortunate save from ByuN. Some would say clutch. I think it was just very fortunate the Banelings hadn't actually gone off just yet. Dynavax is going to kind of load up and pull back. I mean, again, ByuN's not making progress anywhere. The creep spread on the map is really kind of a thing of perfection right now. It's all over the place. Just going to be seeing our Marine tank force going back around over here. What mines? Blown up, but also need to take down a couple lings. Yeah, I mean, Widowmines were actually one of the reasons Spirit was able to kind of get into the later game a little bit. I think he played a good game, but Widowmines were definitely a bigger part of it. He had some really good mine connections. I think this fight's not brilliant for Serral. There's so many Marines that the Banes just can't even get close without being in trouble. Now he's going to have a surround, though. Well, I say a surround. He's going to just about get the lings around the right. ByuN's still able to kite backwards, but yeah, look at the supplies drop, plummet, and disappear for ByuN as he goes below 100 and has no option but to admit defeat in this game one. Serral taking the 1-0 lead and one map away from qualifying to the Team Liquid Star League. I think it's right. It's a lot. Right? I mean, that's the moral of the story. Even if it comes down to 250, it's sizable. And it's not just sizable, it's the fact that it's 250 versus, like, no ping, basically, you know? Bottom left, our blue Zerg player here from NC Sports. Up 1-0 and looking to qualify is Serral. Bottom right, our red Terran player from the Shopify Rebellion is ByuN. Spawn pool first from Serral. I think, again, the logic here is if I just play safe, I can't die. If I don't die and I play into a later game, I'm just going to feel very comfortable that I'm the favorite. I'm not really too worried about it. Falling start up, and it is just a Reaper opening this time from ByuN here on Blackburn. He'll send an SCV scout as well to try and check if it is a pool first, because then obviously he would generally like to keep his Reaper back at home. Yeah, that's usually the kind of the thought process there, at least. And as you do see our SCV moving across, getting going. That tree is going to be done in a moment or two. Just getting that completed as our queen gets going in the main base. Just going to see this Reaper is dancing with the Zerglings. And really nothing too surprising so far. Yeah, I mean, not really much to say. He's going to start a bunker high ground, so ByuN's even a little afraid that Serral's just going to straight up, no respect, roach rush him, right? And it is a precaution you have to take when someone goes pool first. If I was ByuN here, and I mean, I know this is a far stretch, being like, well, if I was ByuN, you know, Mr. Wardy the caster, who is definitely not ByuN in any way, shape, or form. But I feel like, I know this is something you probably need to do, but I feel like it's one of those scenarios where it's like, I feel like maybe you could read the situation and say, look, he's probably just going pool first because at the end of the day, I'm the underdog right now, etc. And he's just being safe. So I feel like the bunker is something you can maybe argue skipping. Obviously, the counter-argument there is how much does it really set you back? 100 minerals, you're going to get 75 of them back. Not a lot, so I guess it is probably just worth it just to make sure. Yeah, I mean, maybe you could kind of theorize. You know, it depends how deep you want to go on the mind games, right? That sort of stuff. There is a Roach Roaring, so we are going to play some form of Roaches here as Serral. It just wasn't the super fast Roach follow-up. And ByuN going to play Banshees. I mean, on a baseline level, that is going to give you a good setup, at least here as ByuN, right? To get Banshees up, to obviously be able to, you know, deal with Roaches to some extent. The Marines deny that Overlord scouting, as we do see the factory is off to the reactors. So we're going to build Hellions behind this. Oh. That's fun. I mean, it's definitely a way to mix Serral up, because he just saw a tech lab on a factory, and now there's actually going to be some Hellions. Unfortunately for ByuN, Serral cancelled the Roach run, because Serral wanted to attack. And so he saw the Cloak Banshees, and he says, actually, no, I'm not going to attack into Banshees with Roaches. It's kind of what I was talking about. It's nice to have a Banshee against Roaches, right? So that's going to be seeing the Marines pulling back a little bit. Just going to be seeing our Baneling Nest dropping down, and an Armory coming in from ByuN. So he's going to turn this into like a Hellbat Banshee Marine timing. I don't blame him. You can tell that he's trying to do something like fresh, new, trying to keep Serral guessing a little bit. Definitely has the right kind of idea, I think, to just try and win the mind game war to some extent and to kind of go from there. Marine Hellion making its way through the bottom side. Serral is making a lot of drones. He might over-drone here. He has got a Bane Nest. He'll have to buy some time to morph Banes. I guess that's not the end of the world. Here we go. We're going to scan to get rid of some creep spread initially. Yeah, only 4 Hellbats, 8 Banelings on the way. They're far enough back that they're not really going to get cancelled either. Love the Spore Crawler relocating, but Serral is going to have ByuN in his natural. The big issue for ByuN here, I would say, more than anything else, is that reinforcements are going to get caught on the way in. But without a lair, I mean, the Spore Crawler is not close enough to catch these Banshees. Now we're going to have units splitting. These Banelings not doing too much else. The Banshees are going to get to work on some of those drones. A few Hellbats in the corner still splitting against the Banelings. And they will do a reasonable job. 3 drones killed after all of this. Oh. So close to having so many more. The Banshees are obviously just off and away, so not going to be able to get much done. Resources lost is good for ByuN, though. I mean, he definitely kind of wins the efficiency trade there, because he did kill a lot of queens. He killed 3 queens, got a few Banelings, obviously, killed a few Zerglings, got a couple drones. Wasn't terrible. He's only 4 workers behind after this. Now 2 has a couple of extracted start, and then more drones finish, right? It ping-pongs around. He's going to be ahead on his upgrades as well anyway, so that's nice. He's still on an upgrade lead. And he still has the 2 Banshees cruising around trying to figure out what they want to do next and see if they can find any other opportunities, any other open doors to deal some damage. That probably isn't an open door right there. Initially, maybe could have got that Crypt Tumor, but then the Queens turn around. These Banshees are low HP. Would like to see these go home, repair, come back, because there's definitely potential to get a few more drones with them. Third CC is now going to finish up, and it's going to be making its way to the top side, so we're going to go straight to position. I think the real good sign here is, again, the upgrades. Like, if you kind of commit to a Hellbat attack, and when it's done, you're kind of still getting your upgrades up sooner than your opponent, I think that's a good place to be in, because even though you made that commitment, you're still kind of feeling some advantages here. And what's Serral got to show for this faster lair? Well, Bane Speed's going to be done at a reasonable timing. Yeah, I think this is a fine game for ByuN. I actually think the setup's been okay for him, as the Infestation Pit is already coming down, and Serral is thinking about the future of Hive Tech, along with this Lingbane army. We'll see if he just wants to rush up in toward Lurkers, but still love these Banshees just to go and get repaired. They absolutely have had the time to go and get repaired and to come back, so that's a little bit of a laziness move there from ByuN, I think, because yeah, I mean, it's all well and good thinking like, well, you know, whatever. But honestly, I mean, they could really get so much more still if given the chance. You never know, you know? Marines and a couple of medevacs coming through, as we are just going to be seeing the Overseer just going to dodge to the other side. We got Lingbane on the bottom, just moving around a little bit as well, and just going to be seeing the Marines trying to stem up this ramp. A couple of Banes come through, and a couple of Marines take damage. But for the most part, this drop gets away, and now the 2-2 upgrades are on the way along as well. So getting set up as a 4th CC is already set to go. I mean, credit to ByuN, he has not stopped on those command centers. This 4th must have started as the 3rd base landed, and he'll go for the additional barracks behind this now to start massing up that Marine counter. There's going to be seeing our 2-2 upgrades coming through. A few additional extra racks coming in, as mentioned. And obviously, ByuN is getting set up for the next stage of this game. There's a little bit of Ling Bane coming through. And a few units all ended up lost on this drop, unfortunately. Yeah, we really do just have, well, Serral going into Burrow. As the high finishes, it looks as though we might get into a very fast kind of Ultra Cavern here. There's obviously been no intention of going towards Hydras and hence the Lurkers, so it does seem like this is going to be that kind of Ling Bane Ultra style rather than the Ling Bane into fast Lurkers, which I was kind of alluding to initially. The faster Lurkers have been kind of the go-to for a while, and for a while, it took me a while to cotton on. I was like, oh wait, actually, like, people are playing this Ling Bane into Lurker. And so now I'm like, okay, they're going to go Ling Bane Lurker, and now they're like, actually, nah, Ling Bane Ultra's cool again, right? So the meta definitely, or the popularity of things shifting. No Ultra Cavern yet, just an Adrenal Glands right now, so that might just be it for the moment from Serral. We'll see what else he gets, as he does have the creep spread all over the map. That's one thing ByuN does not have control over. There is creep freaking everywhere at the moment. And just patrolling around a little bit. Ultra's Cavern is on the way in. These Banshees never repaired, guys. I mean, am I crazy to shout for these Banshees to get repaired? What if they came? I don't know where they would go. But I mean, maybe they could have stopped some creep on the bottom side of the map at some point. I mean, now they just die. It's just kind of a whatever, but I like to see my Banshees get repaired and come back and be heroes again, Gonna stand forward for a little bit of creep spread, as we're just going to be seeing Ling Bane coming forward and looking to wrap around. Two planes connecting, a few Marines going down, getting blown up here, and we are still maxed out on either side. Kindness plane is on the way, by the way, so my call toward the Ultras is eventually going to come to fruition. I mean, the problem is ByuN just can't attack anywhere, so what are we doing? Are we just going to end up splitting this map and playing Ultra late game ByuN? Because he's not getting anywhere with these attacks. He's not getting anywhere with these pushes. Spire on the way too from Serral, so he gives himself some options as everything else kind of continues through. A couple of creep tumors going down already. The Bio Army stimming here, and a lot of the Ling Bane ends up being turned around. On the right side, this Ling Bane force coming through. Tank fire is good to keep the Ling Bane at bay. And now coming through for the rest of this creep spread, the Bio Army coming up. Clearing out a good chunk of this is now just going to lift up and get out of there. Losing a few more units towards the end as tank fire is still coming into this Ling Bane army. I mean, can ByuN take a fight here that's good enough? Can he defend as we see blinding clouds being dropped? Serral is absolutely going to kill this planetary, if nothing else. The factory is burning down. That should be repairable, and already one SCV onto it. Serral gives up a fair amount of Banelings to do this. I mean, look at his rebuild. 84 Lings, 2 Ultras, remorphs, 20 Banelings. Look at the army graph. Serral gives up a lot to deny economy, which, okay, is important, don't get me wrong, but there's a new CC to replace it. So how heavily affected really is ByuN in that scenario? Is Serral just rich and comfortable enough for that to be okay? Yeah, probably. I mean, look at the amount of creep. You consider that he's got pretty much every base on the map and 90 drones. It's probably alright, but I mean, it wasn't an efficient trade, and it's something that ByuN, I feel like, for the moment, is at least somewhat capable of dealing with. It's just ByuN needs to take this and do something else with it, right? He needs to take this and now get across the map and make more action happen, but that's obviously just not happening at all. Perhaps an overseer as we get a creep tumor on the bottom side. A couple tank shots firing, and the Ling Bane coming through. Parasitic bomb coming up as well. Just going to see that blinding cow coming down. This ain't good. These value units just kind of being caught too far forward. And Serral just coming ByuN with too much of a pace right now, right? Just coming back in with a new set of units just before ByuN's really ready to go. He's on his way to Ghost, as these couple of Ultras staying alive is really nice. They get transfused up. They're good as new. You know, who needs to build a whole new Ultra when you can just repair your old ones, guys? Recycling. An important part to playing Zerg effectively. Serral having this 12 o'clock base. ByuN's barely holding on to 4. That's the issue. If ByuN was already having like a 5th CC floating out here, you know, then I'm a bit more of a believer. But he's quite simply on 4 bases right now, you know. He is on 4 bases, and that is that. As these drones transfer up to the 12 o'clock lane, Bane Ultra continuing to settle down as we're going to move into the middle here, and looking like a push over that right-hand side. We get a single snipe off on an Ultralisk, which brings it lower on HP. That's something at least. We are both maxed out once again. Serral, the one to initiate this fight into the Sim City pre-split ByuN. A few ghosts at the front are going to get surrounded immediately. They're going to get shut down right away. Don't think ByuN was quite ready for the timing of this, but look at the supplies. Serral is dropping a lot of supply quickly. Again, he will rebound from this much faster than ByuN will. We cancel that building 5th base. Sorry, there's actually another base up here already floating, but cancels 1 CC that's building. And Serral's remaxed versus 160 supply. So again, it's just a question of, can ByuN actually get back up to max in time? He's got no money spare right now, so it's only what he's mining, but he is on 85 SCVs, resources lost. Only 4,000 worse for Serral. 3.5 even. It's not even that bad. It's actually 4.5. I went the wrong way with the half. Math late at night, guys. What can I say? It's been a 8-hour stream so far. Can't even read the time of my my uptime at the moment. Aye. I'm a mess, as you see our gold base. Finally, we'll try and land, but just to summarize the position that Serral feels like he is in, he is taking the top right base on the map, so let that be a statement which should speak for itself. One concern I have here for ByuN is if Serral rebuilds and ByuN rebuilds and does get maxed out, is he rebuilding a worse army? My answer looking at this is not really. He still has a good ghost count. The tank count is here. He's got libs. Again, these ghosts are very far forward to start, so they're not just going to get a chance to just snipe things. The Banes turn in. All of the ghosts die so quickly. Serral's got a few ultras remaining, and they will all go down. You know what? Serral this time around on the rebuild can't actually remax. His economy is not there this time. You know, we talked about 4,500 resource difference. Now it's 7.5. That fight was really bad for Serral. Yes, he's got bases all over the map, but he maybe needed to get a little bit more of a bank going there before he actually kind of committed to the full-on fight. What he maybe could have done was maybe focus on trying to deny this space, and then once he's got a bank back so he can insta-rebuild, then go for the big fight over here again, perhaps. So just also taking the 6 o'clock base. Again, resources lost. As long as he gets the chance to mine all these bases, is just a non-issue for Serral. It really is. Just the amount of resources and just taking this base extra. Never mind this base extra. And maybe at some point actually mining from this base extra. It's just, like I say, it just doesn't really mean anything, right? You know, it's just so many resources compared to what ByuN can kind of trade out effectively. So base just stopped mining for a little bit. So didn't even send everything down there. He just sends a little bit, doesn't kind of, you know, show his whole hand. There's a borrowed lane, forces a scan. 17.5 minutes. Serral feels like he's had ByuN beat for a while, but the game ain't over, and I have seen Zergs kind of lose from this position because they get caught up on these bad trades. It goes badly repeatedly, and it ain't pretty. This is big. 22 SCVs. That is actually a storyline, I think, because it's the workers dying. Finally, you're stopping ByuN's economy. He's not just sat on 80 workers rebuilding this time. Now it's much worse worker counts. And so it becomes a bit more, you know, it becomes a bit more realistic to bust. And because now ByuN is spreading defenses up here, this attack into this base is so much more effective than before. So I like that Serral kind of took the moment to kind of say, okay, right, what do I need to do differently? Obviously, this attack repeatedly wasn't working, and maybe he could have noticed that one attack earlier than he did. He didn't. That's okay. I think that's fine. That happens. It's not like it lost him the game, but I think he then did identify, look, I need to do something to pull the attention across the map. And obviously, ByuN taking this base was the perfect chance for him to start doing something more about that. As he catches a couple of ghosts here, a couple more Banes will crash in. Again, just backing away, keeping a good chunk of the units alive as the gold is not allowed to land. We'll have to scan again to remove the Zergling here. ByuN rotates down to the south side, but 150 supply, and again struggling to rebuild because he's losing SCVs. There are a few drones dying here and there. Yes, when Serral has right now 100 workers in the game, I'm not sure how much that matters. In fact, it might even be doing him a favor as he maybe saw the chance to grab the ghost there. These units were just trying to knock down the rocks, maybe provide some access to do something aggressive on this base, which, to be fair, if Serral actually has to deal with this, at least it would distract him from some of the attacks he's setting up. So that would be a nice little something, as a few drones already going down. Things are going to run on over, surrounding these few Marines, and the Spore Crawler there to push the medevac back as well. The Marines have to lift up, and again, we've got our army around the upper right. A whole chunk of mules. Just going to go on the gold base. There's a lot of mules. Jeez. It's kind of crazy now what just a few Lings are doing as well. A couple of tank kills and stuff, right? It's all adding up. Ling being ultra back around into the center. Just going to be seeing this army of ByuN moving to the south. It's going to start aiming for this hatchery again. Serral's now got 5k, 4k in the bank. And what that means is kind of what we talked about before, about letting that bank come to fruition before you fight. It means you can fight, instantly rebuild, fight, insta-rebuild, and take probably even another fight. As Banes are going to chase down Ghosts up here. This is going to be big. The Ghosts are running. A few of them do get caught in Baneling fire. Serral, you do have the lava, right? Yes, 51 lava. He's just deciding what to build. That's a hell of a scan to pick off this Infestor, as ByuN is going to make his way through the 6 o'clock base. He has got his gold base mining as well. He's just not maxed out. He doesn't have the money to max out. Off 37 SCVs, he's struggling along. Can't even seemingly saturate all of the mineral lines he does have. Even if they are bare bones. Broodlord's on the way. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, ByuN does not really have the economy to swap into something to deal with Broodlords, so this is going to be a ghost. This is going to be a kind of another kind of pressure on the Ghost. Can the Ghost get rid of the Broods? Well, there's only so much the Ghost can do. And to be honest, the Ghosts haven't even been that good against the Ultras. They've been constantly out of position, getting caught, Baneling striking them and knocking them down like bowling pins. It's been a tough game to be a Ghost. You know, 20 Ghosts dead in this game. You know, it's so tough they don't even fit on the units lost tab. They are just like not the game to be a Ghost, that's for sure. Units lost tab, 640 Lings, 26 tanks. Honestly, some of these numbers aren't as crazy as I thought they might be. I guess it was just mostly Ling Bane throughout, right? As Broodlords are coming through, they have, well, Infestor support, and that's a great EMP. Means there's only really that first initial fungal. Okay, there's a couple more, but the EMP was essential. If you don't EMP that right away, you're in a lot of trouble as ByuN fights for the top right side. 8,000 resource difference when you come to see what's been lost so far this game. ByuN gonna make a double drop down here. A beeline to, I think, get rid of this rebuild, knowing he can't let Serral possibly mine more over here. Or at least the more he does deny Serral mining this space, the better chances he will have, at least. Hammer drops in the top right. It's a much needed source of income for ByuN, and these Broodlords are really going to make tank life difficult, right? These tanks are like almost a burden on the Terran player now. They've been so important to keep Serral kind of back and to keep some of these trades kind of, you know, to stop Serral's army so many times, keep some of the trades realistic for ByuN. But now these tanks are going to be hurting their own units, and you got to stop these Broodlords. There are 17 Broodlords marching your way. There is a single Thor in production. There are 2 on the map. Is that enough against 17 Broodlords? No, you know, at a guess, I'm going to say no. Yeah, this isn't good. The first Infestor fungal drops, denying the Ghosts. We are just going to be seeing Serral again. Another fungal. Ghost can't snipe. And these Broodlords get another supporting fungal, so they can keep on pushing forward and keep the Broodlings going. I don't think we saw a Broodlord die yet. That's the struggle that ByuN is currently facing as he tries to get forward. Serral's spellcasting has been pristine so far in this engagement. Wonderful stuff as we continue forward. A few more Broodlings going down. We are going to be seeing the Bioforce stemming in. I mean, the Infestors are more or less out of energy. There's another one, though, and he hits the chunk of Ghosts on that right side, so it's definitely the better place to hit. There's a couple EMPs. I think it's just maybe too far gone. The Vipers are just flying in. That ain't some pristine spellcasting, I can tell you that much at least, though, so there's a bit of a mistake. Broodlord camp being sniped down. We're running out of energy for snipes. The Thor doing whatever it can as these Broodlords stand and battle. 90 lings on the rebuild as Serral will be remaxed here very soon. Is he actually in trouble? Because all of the Broodlords end up going down. And ByuN will hold in the top right corner of the map, chasing away some infestors, picking off everything that Serral has had. Serral's bank is still there, but it's been disappearing, and he just remade Ling Bane. It's definitely not the best army he's had in a while. Uh-oh. ByuN moving through the top side. Here we go. The Ling Bane coming forward. There's a fungal available, though, and the Balins are going to crash into those ghosts. No! No! Just when I had a little bit of hope for ByuN, the Ling Bane rebuild is way too much. SCVs are going down too. Was there anything else happening that we missed on the bottom side? I think there was just some lings and stuff, and I think there's all sorts actually going on. See, there's just a few lings picking away at orbals and stuff. You know, at this moment right here, I know the overall supplies are down for ByuN, but the army supply is there, right? And I'm seeing just a ton of lings. There's actually only 8 Banelings on the map. He morphs in 13 more, though. He has gas for days as well. Yeah, he morphs in a ton more Banelings. It's honestly just the first 8 Banelings that were ready. Like, there's still only 8 Banelings ready on this fight. It's this fungal that just comes in from the bottom side infestor, and yeah, ByuN's just, I mean, that's just it, right? Because he knows he doesn't have the economy anymore. 25 SCVs. He knows he doesn't have the economy. Orbitals are lifted. He can't rebuild it, and it just means that his army's not getting away. Oh man, what a freaking game! What a freaking game between ByuN and Serral. Serral 2-0 here in qualifiers with TSL.